And greetings, everyone, and welcome. You are in the zone, the BIZ Info Zone. And you're with Vila Hawkins. I'm your host of the BIZ Info Zone Show. I am so excited to be here today because we're doing something different. We are totally in the space of leverage and leveraging social media with Periscope. And I'm calling it up Periscope. Let's get it going because this is not only going to be fun, it's going to be educational, and we're going to start some stuff happening. One of the reasons that I totally love this gentleman right here is because he's a mover and a shaker, and so am I. We make things happen. I call myself a difference maker, as does he, and we're making a difference today by those of you who are joining me wanting to know what Periscope is all about, where it came from, what I can do with it, especially as it relates to leveraging additional social media for business. You're in the right space. And what I have found out is that Jason has got his Periscope followers watching him live streaming this right now. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the CEO of GHOA Media Group. And he's a media strategy expert. He's a media specialist, technical director, speaker, trainer, coach, mentor, and a personal friend who I am just so enamored with, because when he introduced me to Periscope a week or so ago, was like, really, what? And I downloaded the app. That's about as far as I got until I started asking questions. And now we're going to take a deep dive today so that you can find out more about Periscope, what it is, how to use it, and you can find out if it's going to work for you to leverage this social media platform for your business. Now, Twitter is claiming that this is not only the hottest new thing on the planet, but it's the hottest new thing for life and business. Going live streaming, talking to your followers, getting them to talk to theirs, and it's happening. I've been seeing some things happening over the past just couple of days that have just been astonishing. And so we're bringing this to you. And right now I want to just bring Jason in. Welcome, Jason. Welcome to the show. Tell us how you got on this thing called Periscope. How'd you find out about it?
I kind of keep my finger on the pulse of what's going on inside of the digital world, whether it be social media, whatever. If it's content, if it has something to do with being able to leverage business, if it has something to do with being able to have a presence on a different platform, I've got to be all over it, because what I do with nonprofits, I need to be informed so I can inform them of, look, this is how this works. This is what you can do with this. These are the ways that you can leverage this in order to not only build your base, build your business, but it's a way that you can get ahead of the noise. Right now, there is so much noise inside of the space, whether it be your professional space inside of industry, and even personal space. Look at Facebook. Look how much stuff comes into a newsfeed on a day-to-day basis. There's no way possible that you can stay ahead of it unless you come into it with a strategy. So what it is with this whole Periscope, I heard it through the grapevine. One of my contacts online started using it, and I was hearing it in relation to the comparison between Periscope and Meerkat. And so I said, okay, well, didn't know much about Meerkat. So I said, let me dive in and see what's going on. So my way of diving in is to download the app and start using it and start interacting and engaging. And so this is where we are right now. And so when you contacted me, said, hey, let's do something around Periscope. I was like, I think it's about time to do that. Let's do it while it's new, it's cutting edge. People are loving it. I'm loving the people. Hey, y'all. And, we're just seeing a lot of things happen.
I'm so excited. And I want to make sure that you also know, and our audience also knows, that I'm going to be looking on the event page and bringing in, those comments, those questions that are out there that I'm seeing that are going to help others to really be in this space of leveraging this new social media tool.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, Lynn, I just wanted to give a shout out. We had a hello from Florida, earlier on, and I wanted to make sure that I mentioned that hello. And guys, go ahead and pop your questions in, and that way, as the questions pop up, I will be asking Lynn. And let me tell you a little about Lynn, and I probably should have her tell you, but Lynn is an amazing business mind, okay? An amazing business mind. She, gets into the whole thing. I mean, Lynn, your background was commercial real estate,
right?
You moved into dealing with for-profits, nonprofits. She works at for-profit, nonprofit. I go nonprofit, for-profit. So it's a great, connection that we have here. And so she deals with, the whole thing around fiscal agents. And, as you follow me and as you follow Lynn, you'll learn more about that and how that can impact your business, positively impact your business, whether you're for-profit or nonprofit. So anyway, just wanted to give you a little heads up. This is definitely a woman to follow. Lynn, what is your tag on Periscope?
I want to say it is VL Hawk.
Okay, VL Hawk. Okay, so check out VL Hawk and see if you find that at VL Hawk, and then just follow her. Definitely follow her. Push this out into the Periscope world, and because we're scoping right now about this. Make sure that your followers follow her also if they really want to build their business. Okay, I see that you joined the conversation. Nice.
I did, and this is exciting for me because this is the first time that I'm really getting this deeply in it. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking at all of the things that are transpiring here, and I've turned my sound down so that I don't get this echo thing going on here.
Okay, Aida just said, great to meet you.
Yes. Thank you, Aida. Very
cool. We're going to be multitasking this event here.
Well, and I want people to know that this whole multitasking that you're talking about, this is not only a discussion about leveraging Periscope in business, in life, but it's also how do I get started? How do I use this? What do these symbols mean? Yeah. And they do mean something. We want you to know that because that's going to be important as you're building your strategy for using Periscope.
Right.
So, Jason, how do people get started?
Okay, well, first off, and then Aida just said also developing long-term relationships, and this is very true.
Yeah.
It takes that stranger factor completely out of the equation from the minute. You have immediate rapport. Okay, being a connector and connecting. Absolutely, Aida. Thank you so much. Okay, well, you get started basically, by, I would say, make sure you have your Twitter account set up because you want to leverage your Periscope with your Twitter, okay? Periscope is, you have the ability to simultaneously grow all of your social media platforms, Twitter being one that is most directly impacted by your Periscope. Because Periscope is connected to Twitter and Twitter owns it, when you start a broadcast, like immediately once I started this broadcast, my broadcast went out to all of my Twitter followers. And now the beautiful thing about that, hey Sharice, how you doing? The beautiful thing about that is that you're able to have not only the viewers that you see, like you'll see the number right now on Periscope. And so for some, they see, okay, 6, and they're like, oh, okay, well, there's just 6 people watching. However, here's the key. You have replays that are available to you. So now when people, they share your replays, now you've got a whole other slew of folks who are coming in to check out the replays. Hey. And so that the replay is another way of getting more engagement. Also, you've got the web traffic. The web traffic is going to be really where the clincher is, because if you don't have a big Periscope following as of yet, your web traffic can really fill in the blanks. Okay, like for example, I get a lot of web traffic because now on my Twitter, I've got a lot of folks who follow me who deal in the nonprofit sector and some of the other spaces that I frequent. So what ends up happening is that I put out a Periscope, it shares out to my Twitter. Everybody who shares out to their Twitter, then their audiences on Twitter also have an opportunity to look at the live broadcast or scope, the live scope, what we call it. And then on top of that, now I believe that Periscope, hey, consulting check, I believe that Periscope has also opened up the floor for being able to see replays on Twitter as well. And so now those replays on Twitter are going to be very important because, that's a way to, thank you so much for the follow, Angela. They're able to follow it on Periscope, on the web. Okay, yeah, a little Freudian slip there. They're able to now see the replays. So, now it gets down to making sure that you are, make sure that you are having really relevant communications going out and things that are going to add value to those who visit your scope. I like to do things that, I like to draw back on what it is that I used to do when I was working inside of the entertainment industry, and talk about some of the things, the business building practices, the way to reappropriate your content. I mean, I was a master at that. I could take one segment, a commercial or what have you, and I could literally take it and split it 100 ways, literally 100 ways. So you have 100 unique broadcasts out of it. And there's just certain techniques that you do, certain templates that you work within. And if you understand how to templatize, if that's not a word, just add it to the dictionary of words that you hear me make up over time, because I make up a lot of words, So as you templatize your things, what ends up happening is that you develop a system, and then you just kind of work that system, you move into that system, and then you start getting, instead of like a massive amount of followers, you get a very strategically laser targeted audience of folks who are going to resonate with your message, and folks that are going to now, potentially be clients, collaborators, people who will help you leverage your community to grow it and to grow into other industries that you would never have had the opportunity or the open doors to get into.
I love it. I love it. So, we've often talked about the value of visual being added to, marketing, being added to any sales copy, being added to the things that actually grow exposure and increase opportunities in order to increase income. And so it looks like that where Periscope has entered the scene, it's really allowing you to be in the space of the quick video, the quick statement, the value add, and in that spontaneity and the value add, you then have opportunity to actually direct people to come to you from various locations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And let me tell you some of the power that you have when you really understand what you're doing with the Periscope platform, any platform really for that matter. But when you understand what you're doing with the Periscope platform, what you're able to do is to not only engage with your followers, your community on Periscope, you're able to move them off of Periscope for more value added information. And so long as you understand how you are laser targeting your traffic, and you are speaking, like say, for example, that I wanted to target chefs. I'm a chef, and I want to now talk to chefs about how they build their business in the most strategic way so that they're not working hard, they're working smart. Finding like-minded people is super easy. Absolutely. So that, they're working smart instead of hard. I would talk to them about how to do their searches, via Periscope, how to do their searches via Twitter, because Periscope and Twitter are so intertwined. You can do a Twitter search and still find extra Periscope folks, folks who have not yet moved onto the Periscope platform. You can strike up a conversation with them via Twitter, and you can add them to a certain list. And that list, you can now target that list so that that, okay, let me make sure that I kind of see what these people are doing. And then when they put out something that's relevant to your marketplace, you make sure to comment on that. This is a great, thanks for the intro to it. Absolutely. So the thing is, and then, you also have to learn how to leverage multiple conversations at once. I'm sitting here talking to you and looking at my Periscope to say, okay, what's going on here? So for those who don't know what's happening, who are just watching it from your show and aren't seeing it from the Periscope app, they'll probably think, okay, Jason's a little schizophrenic here. What's going on?
So hang on a second. Why don't we connect everybody? Let's take a minute. Okay. So
let's do that.
If you have downloaded the app, and you're in the app, they probably should find you first.
Okay.
Because
absolutely.
You're who's live streaming. I'm actually following your live stream. So you want to go to
you can actually go to if you're on, once you download Periscope, then go to the Jason Hodge. I am at the Jason Hodge. Also, it's
So you
super
want
important
to
to connect with others. Absolutely, Ida.
search people.
Yes.
And in your search, put the Jason Hodge, Hodge. Follow Jason, and then join the group. So you'll be able to click one of those buttons that says that you're following him, and then join the live streaming right now. Periscope, the BIZ Info Zone with Phelan Hawkins, digital leverage now.
Yes.
And you'll find that right there. Join us.
And ask your questions.
Join the conversation. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We'd like to know what it is that your questions are so that we can really leverage this opportunity. We're 19, 20 minutes in, and there's a whole opportunity to not only get connected, to see what it's looking like rolling, but, Jason, let's move to once they get connected with the live stream, they'll start seeing how people are actually using the comments to say stuff. So talk to us about that real quick. I want to send a comment.
Okay, so now with the comments, a couple of things is that now, and Periscope is still, kind of working out the kinks, right? Because I did a scope the other day. It was Tuesday morning. I was heading back to our house, after my wife and children and I spent some time over the weekend with family. It was impromptu visit, so we hadn't planned it. But on the way back to the house, I said, you know what, let me go ahead and scope this. And first, it started out as the title was, like On Our Way Home or something like that. Well, it actually turned into a business strategy scope, where I started talking about some different things around, using scope in your day-to-day and in your business and all of that. So now, granted, I wasn't able to see the comments and things because I was driving. So I said, okay, well, just go ahead, comment, ask your questions and all of that. And that way I'll be able to jump into those questions, when I look at the replay myself. Well, unfortunately, for whatever reason, I wasn't able to see those questions. So I said, okay, well, I don't know who was asking the questions and I don't know who was sharing at the time. Hey, Vila, there you go. Yeah, and I don't know who was sharing at the time. So I said, okay, I'll have to just do a new scope where, it is just me sitting at the desk here or at the table. I'm in my lab is right behind me. My lab is my kitchen. Okay, y'all know that, right? Being that I'm that chef, and that's my lab. So, so here it is. I said, okay, we'll go ahead and do another scope where you can ask your questions and all that. And we could talk about leverage, hey, Unicorn Beauty, hey, D Success Beauty. And so every now and then you want to make sure that you shout out to your folks who are joining, because you want to let them know, hey, I see you, and you're important to me. So yeah. Okay, so now let's talk about, something very simple and basic. Okay, the hearts. The hearts they're so important, yet you want to make sure that you aren't, a heartmonger. You're not sitting there begging for hearts. Yeah, you let people know, okay, look, if you like this, go ahead and do the hearts, because what the hearts do is they push you up in the search results. And that way, folks who may not necessarily be connected to you can find you in that stream of things that are going on live. And then so as the hearts come up, it pushes you up, they see you, then they say, okay, well, is this a conversation? Is this a scope that I want to get involved with? That's where your titling has to come into play. Your titling, it can be very business-like, or it can be very, whimsical, and it all depends on who you're looking to attract and who would be normally searching the Periscope stream. So, for example, if I were to say something like, Business Tactics 101, it may not necessarily be something that folks would just want to join into. If I talk about leverage, digital leverage, well, the folks who want to use the digital space to leverage their presence, their business, and all of that, they would go ahead and, click on that and say, okay, let me see what he's talking about. Let me see if he's worth my time, and you've got all of these other things that are competing for that time. So you want to make sure that your stuff is rich in content, that title, grabs people. Another thing inside of the title, and I didn't do that in this title right here, but inside of the title, you could also hashtag it. And that way, when people are searching for a specific hashtag, You know, like say, for example, I were to say marketing or digital marketing or something like that, and I hashtag that. What will end up happening is that, yes, it will speak to the audience on Periscope, but it'll also speak to the audience on Twitter or whoever else is searching the hashtag world, you know, that realm. And then so they'll click on it and then they'll see my stuff come up and they'll say, oh, okay, this looks interesting. So you can use your hashtags in order to get in front of your target market. Okay, I may hashtag nonprofits if I'm doing something specific to nonprofits. I may say, okay, nonprofit funding, you know, so now I hashtag that. Folks who are looking for ideas on how to fund their nonprofit, then they will chime in and they'll say, okay, so let's see, what does he have? You know, also, if I have like a certain number, like say, for example, if I were to say 3 things you could do right now to build your nonprofit, 3 things you could do right now to build your business, 3 strategies, 3, you know, 5 strategies, whatever. If I give a number, what that does is that mentally tells the person, psychologically prepares them for, look, this is not going to be just Hiawatha here. You're not going to go on infinitum. We're going to talk about 5 specific things that you can do right now to build your business. So once I hit that 5, you're good to go. You know, you don't have to take extra time. You know that the broadcast is over. You have gotten value for your time, and now you're moving on. Okay, another thing is that inside of Periscope, when you start out, you know, there's a lot of just interesting, you know, backgrounds. And what I learned from Scott, what is Scott's last name? You know, Scott does a lot of scoping, you know, so I follow him, and I will try to, I don't know if I could do that from where I'm at. But Scott made a mention of how you take a solid background, and you could just, you know, Scott Williams, thank you, Aida, thank you. Okay, so you take a solid background. Now, if you notice, my solid background is this, you know, sheet right here. I could put it on my pants or my shirt or whatever, and then I start the broadcast, and then I double tap it to now move the camera back to my face. So when you initially start, you are getting the shot where it's a forward-facing shot. Okay, so whatever's, you know, in your forward-facing, if you got a dirty room, that's what's going to show up as your first shot on Periscope, and that's what's going to be basically your thumbnail. You don't want that. So you want something solid, or you want something that, you know, I've also shot my Periscope, you know, moniker, where it's got me, Periscope, you know, my Periscope tag or handle, and then that way, when that comes up, people can see that. Although the image is kind of blurry, so you don't really make it out. So I said, okay, let me just go with the solid background. Thank you for that, Scott Williams, exactly.
So Jason,
yes,
you talked about the hearts. You know, anybody who's looking can see the hearts. They're coming in different colors. Do the different colors mean something?
The different colors are going to be like, say, for example, that I start hitting the heart. Okay, I do my company logo as my shot. They see before I turn it around to me. Yes, that is a good thing, Sharice. However, if you go back and notice that, yes, it shows your company logo, but if you're doing it for branding purposes to where they can actually just see that image as the logo, the image is not necessarily all that clear for them to be able to see what it is, to be able to now connect to you. So therefore, it's almost like, okay, I don't quite know what that is. It can be a little confusing. And so that's why I now have defaulted to the solid background. And then making sure that with the solid background, I have a really good title. Another thing with the solid background is that these, with the solid background, you don't have extra, you know, things competing for people to be able to actually read what you have in your title. You see, if you have competing information, like say that I've got all these colors and stuff, and say that I've got white, I've got black, I've got green and gray and all of that, what ends up happening is that those colors, like say, for example, that your title is also, your titling is white. Well, now that title is going to start dropping out in the areas where that background image is white. So they're not going to be able to read what it is that you have in your title. So that's why you want to be careful with the color of your background and how busy your background is. So I would say you may want to reconsider putting your logo and stuff behind there, because it could compete with your title, which is going to draw people in. Okay. What was your question, Lynn? I'm sorry, I had seen, you know.
Do the hearts, the different colors of the hearts actually mean something?
Yes. Okay. So if I start hitting hearts, I can't do it on mine right now. But if I start hitting hearts, you know, I will see that my color is a certain color. Well, each different color is going to be a different person who's giving those hearts.
Ah, okay.
So you'll see a lot of blue hearts. So it's like, oh, okay. Or a lot of green, like I'm seeing a lot of teal green, a lot of baby blue hearts and stuff coming up. So those are individual people. Thank you, baby blue hearts. I'm seeing those really rock, you know. And okay, I just saw a salmon color heart, right? So each one, thank you, green heart, thank you, salmon heart, thank you, brown heart, thank you, hot pink heart. Okay, so all of these hearts are coming up, and then you start seeing at the end, you'll start saying, okay, who is giving all of these hearts? Now, what I can do is I can swipe to my right. I'm on iPhone, so I don't know if it's different on Droid. You're a Droid girl, so you'll be able to swipe. So see if you can swipe right, or if you have to swipe left or up or down, because that'll kind of give our viewers, since we're working both directions here. Okay.
I'm swiping up and down.
Okay, so you're swiping up and down. Okay, so now I'm seeing that Christiana, thank you, Christiana, she gave me 26 hearts. Awesome stuff. You know, I'm seeing Couture Lifestyle gave me 11 hearts. Charisse gave me 449 hearts. Charisse, you rock. Woo! Ms. Robin Wiggins, oh, she is like just pumping it now. She has 600 and some odd hearts, right? B. Lynn has given me 3 Lynn. Okay, B, you got to come up now.
All right, all right.
I'm trying to figure out,
how do I do it? How do I actually
you just actually tap your screen and you'll start seeing hearts come up. So as you tap your screen, you know, hearts will start coming up, and then so they just, you know, just keep on continuing.
Ah, yeah. I gotcha. Okay.
Now, another beautiful thing is that you can start following folks who are having relevant content. Like you'll see some folks who have really good, you know, ahas, really good questions, really good statements that they make. And so for that, as an audience member, you'll say, oh, that was a really good question. Let me follow that person, or let me see what that person is into. So then you tap on that person, and then immediately what will end up happening is that you get this menu like, okay, Arise to Thrive just joined. So I clicked on Arise to Thrive. Okay, let me see if I can show. No, it probably won't show in there. Okay, I clicked on Arise to Thrive, and so it gives me options. I can view the profile. Okay, so if I hit view profile, okay, I click on that. Now I get to see, okay, who is Arise to Thrive? So Arise to Thrive says, I am connected to helping everyone, committed to helping everyone find financial security and live their dreams. Your is the way it is. Okay, your is the way it is because ... Okay, so now with Arise to Thrive, you know, they would have to, I don't know if Arise to Thrive is he or she, but they would have to then, if they want to fit, what about user list? I could see it before not knowing. Okay, you have to swipe to the left and then swipe up, or swipe to the right and swipe up to see that. Okay, so with that, I would say if you're wanting to fit your whole message in to your description, you want to count out the amount of characters. I haven't taken the time to count out the amount of characters, but you can see where it cuts off and gives you the ... Now you know that the rest of that message is truncated. So you want to have all of your important information, whoever you're wanting to attract, in front of that ... Okay.
Got it.
Some people put a URL, which I think is brilliant. That's a good idea, because in the URL, then if they get nothing else but that URL, now the person can visit that URL. So now you are moving them off of Periscope. Okay.
Right.
A way to engage with you deeper. Okay. So
let me just give you a couple of comments from inside the Hangout.
Nice.
Well, okay, let's talk technical for a minute.
Okay.
Aileen Boundy is with us, and she's well, I'm sure she can hear us, but she's asking, she says she tried to download the app and it tells her her device is not compatible. She's got a Samsung S3. Any suggestions? I mean, wouldn't this be, especially an S3 that's not that old, it's not something that doesn't have the same technology that an S4 and S6 has. Got any suggestions there to help her figure out what's up there?
You know what? I like to stay in my lane, and so I'm not a technician on that. I'm still learning Periscope myself. So when it comes to the with the specs and things like that, that is not where my expertise lies. My expertise lies in the leverage factor of how you can use it, different ways that you can approach Periscope so that you can grow your community. Now, what I would say, and so Aileen, shake salt on this one, because I'm just speculative conversation now, okay? Just deductive reasoning for me. and that may, you know, end you down in Alice in Wonderland's rabbit hole. But what I would say is that, for one, you can access it via your Twitter. Okay, you won't be able to engage like you can inside, you know, having the app itself, but you can access it through your Twitter. So I would say to find the folks who you like to follow. Look on your Twitter feed, and whoever is rocking Periscope, I would probably do a search for the hashtag of Periscope. And then, okay, my Samsung Galaxy Note tablet is also not compatible with it. Okay, yeah, and see, Periscope started out as an iOS endeavor, and so they have recently added the Droid, you know. And so I would say that probably within the next few days, maybe a few weeks, you will see all of those things come into play, because I'm seeing that they are making a lot of moves relatively quickly. Tablets are not a good match for Periscope. Yeah, and I would say probably yet, Aida. And, you know, because I'm seeing that they are making some, because initially that they were not available for Android. It was just Apple. Apple users can use Periscope. And now we're seeing that it's in the Google Play Store. So I would say that, you know, their technicians are behind the scenes making things happen so that they can get the larger market share. So I don't think that that's going to be something that you have to worry about too long. Okay, I love that we're at the forefront of this. Absolute skinny rap central. Absolutely. I know it's old, Alex Young, but it still works. Yes. So I would say, yeah, you know, just kind of ride your Twitter for a moment, do some hashtag searches for Periscope, and then see everybody. Because see, when the message goes out, especially folks who are tweeting your broadcast, Periscope is one of the hashtags that automatically is added to it, unless they you know, tweak that hashtag is going out. So when you hashtag search for Periscope, you will see all of the scopes that have to do with that. Okay, and then I would probably hashtag search for Periscope, and then hashtag search for your particular industry, the things that you're interested in, and then you should be able to get at least a good snapshot of the things that are going on around the space.
I like that comment too. The more we connect, the more we'll learn. And because that's true. And that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do this today. So Jason, I'm so grateful to you for helping me to bring this to the P3 Academy and the BIZ Info Zone Show audience. Because, you know, it truly is. How do you grow anything without, you know, nurturing it, without staying abreast of, you know, what the environmental impacts can be? And in doing so, you're able to adjust and be ahead of the game. You know, it's like the weather forecast. When the weather forecast gives you a good forecast, you know how to, you know whether to take an umbrella or a rain jacket, and you can prepare. Well, we're trying to give you the weather forecast by preparing you with Periscope.
Yes.
And there's some more comments out here. Let me see.
And some more invited followers. I love it. Thank you, Sharice. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. Thank you for the heart's explanation. Lots of our BIZ Info Zone followers are now following you. Alex is giving Aileen, you know, 2012, my S4 I got in 2012.
Hey, Mark,
but you know what? Because this whole concept is migrating to Android, my guess is that, especially where Samsung is concerned, they're going to look at the expansion to be able to allow people to utilize the phones that they know are in service right now in order to be a part of Periscope, because Twitter doesn't want to lose you. Absolutely. Twitter wants you. Twitter wants us all. And the other thing is, what comes to my mind is, you know, one of the apps that I use, Friends Plus Me, allows me to post multiple places. And what I'm seeing can be done also is in that preparation mode, to actually post into your posts and utilize hashtags with Periscope in it, so that when you do get to that place of really being in Periscope space, you've already got some stuff going.
Are you ready for me to blow your mind with some tidbits, Slim?
Okay.
Okay. I hope you're sitting down.
Go for it.
I love doing this on your show, by the way, you know.
Well, thank you. I love having you on the show because you do stuff like this.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? Okay, so now let's talk about what it is that you can do, because I'm all about automation. I don't like to have to do the same thing over and over and over again. It bores my mind. And so I like to get the most bang for my buck. So if I'm going to spend a minute here, I want it to deliver me 10 minutes to 60 minutes worth of stuff that I don't have to do. So one of the things that you can do with your Periscope is you can go to IFTTT.com. Okay, IFTTT.com. That is, it creates a series of recipes. Now, I've been rocking IFTTT for quite a while now. I don't know when they started, but I would not be surprised if I jumped in at the beginning, at their inception. I may or may not have, I don't know, but I've been using them for a long time. And so what IFTTT will allow you to do is that, like, say, for example, that, as I go live with, my scoping, right, my Periscope, as it goes onto my Twitter feed, I can create a thank you, Sharice. Excellent. You guys, Sharice just posted inside of the chat the link to the IFTTT.com. So what it is that I do with that, I use it for my research. I am a member of over 2,000 communities inside of Facebook. I'm a member of over, a few hundred communities inside of G+, right? I'm a member of all of the stuff, I've maxed out on my membership of communities inside of LinkedIn. And I do not frequent all of those areas because it will be overwhelming. I wouldn't even put a virtual assistant to do that because I'd be spending more of my money on them just following the things as opposed to finding relevant information. So what I do is I create recipes, and those recipes will come and populate a spreadsheet for me. So it'll give me what the message was, the information inside of the post. It'll give me the link to the direct post, so I can now make reference to the direct post. And then if I want to curate content later on, if I want to leverage somebody else's content or have commentary about it, I can. So now, inside of, I don't know if you all know this, at least on the PC, you can do a Control F search. And when you hit Control F, it will find, and you could type in the name or the word that you wanted to find, right? So now, say for example, that I want to find all of the stuff pertaining to nonprofits. So I go into my spreadsheet or into a document. I could also have it populate a document, a Word style document, inside of Google Docs. And I could say, okay, let me now find all of the things that say nonprofit. So now it will find all of the things that say nonprofit. It'll highlight those things. And now I don't have to go through and read through thousands of entries. I can read and go directly to where it says nonprofit, see if it's relevant or not. If it's relevant, then I go further. You know what's going to tell me if it's relevant? It's going to be, okay, what is the title? What's the post around? What are some of the key things? How are they grabbing my attention initially? If they grab my attention, which kind of gives you a heads up on why you want to really, you want to configure your copy in a way that it is going to, from one word to the next, it's going to move a person to wanting to read the next word, to wanting to read the next sentence, to wanting to read the next paragraph. So by the time that they're finished, you're done reading, okay? Let me give you a really good thing that I tell my clients. When you go to the store, stop going to the store as a consumer, okay? It sounds like I jumped on a tangent here. I'm not. Okay. Stop going to the store as a consumer. Go to the store as a business leveragist. When you go to the store, start noticing things. Notice where they place the end caps. The end caps are those things where you see, like at the end of the aisle, the toilet paper or the sodas and all of that. Notice what they're placing in those end caps. Notice what they're placing at your eye level. Notice the type of folks who are in that store on a regular basis. Notice the culture, notice the height, notice the shopping tendencies. Go there and make that store a university for yourself, okay? Sorry that I'm diverting my attention over to my Periscope folks. Let me see if I can move this now over, and that way I can be a little more.
Well, I can help there too, because I'm seeing it. And I agree. Pay attention to the marketing strategies that these people use. We're so deep into consumer mode that we don't see what the
Yes,
things are that's going on around us.
absolutely. And when you think about it, look at it from this perspective. You could either take your time and energy doing it yourself and have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to get the intel, or you could look at the end product and say, okay, so what are they doing? Because they've already spent their hundreds of thousands and millions in the thank you, unschooling, and their millions in their market research to find out what is going to be the best mix, and they're always testing. So leverage their testing, curate their testing. Okay, so that's one thing right there. When you are also looking at your periscoping, right? Create an editorial calendar and create a content calendar. Now, let me tell you something about the editorial calendar and what's going to make the difference between that and your content calendar. Because a lot of people, they hear the terminology and they think of it as the same thing, and it's really two entirely different things.
Right.
Okay. Now, a good way for you to isolate an editorial calendar is go and research your industry. If you're in the real estate industry, go and look at all of the publications that deal with real estate. Okay. Look at their media kits, download their media kits, look at what it is that they already have scheduled for on their editorial calendar. They're going to go by seasons and all of that. And they usually go, when you're dealing with a magazine, at least it used to be this way, and I don't think that it's changed, at least definitely not in the last few years. But they're going on like a 36-month calendar. Okay, so like kind of like 3 years, what they're going to be talking about. And they may switch around certain stories or people, but
they will adjust.
Yeah, they'll adjust. And they'll adjust as it's going to be relevant to their audience and drive more traffic. So you go and what I like to do is I like to backlog. So I will go and say, I'll go to my library. It's free. Do your free stuff, leverage that. Go to the library and have them back order the last 36 to 48 months worth of your ideal magazine. Notice the headlines. Notice all of the things about those magazines, because you're going to start to see the patterns in that particular industry. Okay. Now you know how to create your own editorial calendar that is going to be relevant to your target market. If you find that their demographics are your demographics, then now I don't have to change up the language. I just have to add my spin to the conversation. You see? So that's one thing. I've got a whole bunch of tips on how you can, really leverage the stuff that's already out there. But that's a really good one to start with. It's easy, and it will allow you to get ahead of your marketplace in a way that folks are going to be like, wow, are they gifted? Are they psychic? Are they a prophet? What's going on? How are they there already? Just look at what's out there already.
Very good. I like that. We're all in the space of putting on our marketing hats, whether you're, someone who just is in the media, in the space of media, or you're moving a business product or service, or wherever you are in that space, and to really start, what you talked about, it's truly a shift in the paradigm. As a business owner, I'm thinking in this space and it's a straight line view, yet you don't even realize the spaces that you're showing up, that you're still the consumer.
Yes.
Versus being the marketing person. Absolutely. And I have been known to help marketing people do a better job at marketing, because
I know. Yes.
I'm a lay person in that marketing space, and I'm asking the questions, well, why is this placed here? Why do I want to have this verbiage here?
Yes.
Help me understand that so that I can give you the right verbiage. Absolutely. Somebody asked me just yesterday if I'm doing a marketing campaign and it's failing. It's not having the results that I want. What do I need to look at? I'm like, well, the story is being told. You're marketing into a particular audience, and your message is saying something. So it's either your message is incorrect, or it's speaking to the wrong audience, or your audience is incorrect and your message might be right, but if you're speaking to the wrong audience, then you still got something off there.
Yes.
And what I see the ability of Periscope allowing us to do is to personally speak the messages so they don't get twisted. They are the messages getting to the right people. And I love the piece that you said about finding your target market. Why don't you speak a little bit more to that and let us hear some more of how we actually make that happen.
Okay. Online, you can find different things like the media kit, the editorial calendar. When I go and I approach a magazine, right? I remember years ago, I was working on a project. So I had Oprah's, the old magazine, they sent me out their information, right? And a few other magazines, because I was doing, a cross, comparison. And what I went to look for, whereas they were sending the thing for me to be an advertiser, I was looking at it for the demographics. Who is this magazine reaching? Because it makes no sense to advertise in something if it's not going to be your target market. So one of the things that I like to do, in order to start, isolating where my ideal market would be, is I would go to like Amazon.com. Seems kind of simple, but let me tell you how you use Amazon. You see, there's a way to use everything that's out there from a non-consumer standpoint. So when you go to Amazon.com, you go there and you find the ideal book or product or whatever it is. You click on that, and immediately you're going to see folks who bought this also bought this. Okay? That starts to give you an idea of, okay, so these people have an affinity. They bought coffee, but they also have an affinity to travel and golf. Now, this is just a hypothetical, so don't think that coffee drinkers have an affinity for coffee and golf or traveling golf. But
I do.
Yeah, I know. See, so by osmosis, I picked that up. Okay, so here it is. That now you start saying, okay, so people who like golf, okay, let me click on these other products, and you start making your database, your spreadsheet of all of these different branches, okay, because these are the tangents that show you where your audience resides. Now, as you go down these tangential roads, you start seeing how these shopping patterns are, the travel patterns. You start seeing the platforms that these folks are using. You also look at the reviews of that particular product to see, okay, what are the people talking about? You see the 5-star reviews, what accolades are they giving? You see the 1-star and the 2-star and 3 stars, and you're seeing the people who are detractors, or they're saying this product is lacking this. Now you start seeing, based on what they're saying it's lacking, you start saying, okay, these are the areas in which I need to fill in. I need to fill in these blanks. So now when I speak or put my copy together, let me make sure that I hit some of these points, because now it's going to not only get the people who already love this type of material, it's also going to get the people who feel that the material is lacking stuff. So I'm going to tell them, hey, it's not lacking anymore. This is what I have for you. And they're like, hey, I just finished writing a review saying that it's missing this, this, and this. Now you are talking directly to them. And they feel like they're the only ones in the room with you, okay? Another quick thing, side note, I know that the tabloids can be very addictive when you read them as a consumer. Now, one of my, I would say, greatest copy teachers, I took some training from John Carlton, brilliant copywriter, okay? He's a legend in the space. Well, anyway, one of the assignments that he gave us to do, shout out to John. One of the assignments that he gave us to do was to go and get some tabloids. Now we didn't have to subscribe to them, but he says, at least grab a tabloid or two ever so often. And what you're going to do when you're in those tabloids, you're going to look at a few things. You're going to look at the patterning of their copy. And their copy, when I say their copy, let me not get too far into jargon here, but copy is just basically the text on the page. What are they saying? How are they saying it? So you take that copy and you start reading it for the pattern. Look at the rhythm of how they're saying what they're saying, and notice how you feel, the visceral feel that you get when you're reading it, okay? Is it tweaking your emotions in one way or the other? Because you see, they are master copywriters. They spend millions on getting their copy together because they've got to sell the ad space. Okay, the copy is filler. The ad space is where the money is. So in order for them to get people to read the ad space, to get the ads in front of their clientele, their customer base, they have to make sure that they have compelling copy to keep the person reading so that they can insert the ads inside of that copy in order for them to possibly say, hey, you know what? I've always needed these naturalizer shoes. Let me go and buy some of them. It's because they know how to match the target, and the targetedness of their audience, right? Mm-hmm. So anyway, so read the tabloids, but read it not from a consumer standpoint, read it from a researcher standpoint so that you can get your copy together. Okay. So I jumped off of that. I didn't want to leave the call without saying that because that's some really good information there. What else were we talking about? Because I interrupted myself.
And I'm paying attention to a lot of stuff. I think I asked, we were totally talking on the target market, identifying your target audience.
Target market. There it is. Okay. So now as you go through and you start finding, different, people who bought this, they also bought this. Now you start seeing where your target market, where they reside, and you start engaging in those communities. Now you will be on Amazon, but then you may say, okay, well, I noticed coffee drinkers and I want to sell coffee. They also bought travel and golf. So guess which forums and communities that I'm going to join? I'm going to join travel and golf communities because I know that's where my coffee drinkers are going. So now when I add value inside of the coffee and golf community, I know that I'm going to start extracting followers from those spaces just by having a conversation about my favorite coffee while I'm out golfing or traveling. Oh, when I travel, I like to, get this type of coffee on the airline. I find at that altitude, the coffee, the flavors just really pop. Whatever, however that works for you, you know what I mean?
It's funny you say that. I often talk about, doing business should be one of the loves of your life.
Yeah.
And, I liken it to playing in the right playground with the right people that I want to play with, having the right conversations. And that's totally it. It's finding those communities that you can look at as being the right playgrounds.
Right.
So that as you enter and you start playing, and that playing truly is being of service and contributing to the content, contributing to the conversation. And while you may get an opportunity to sell, it's not a selling conversation.
Absolutely. And that's where most people miss it. Go ahead.
You're right. That's a key element. You want to be in these playgrounds and have fun with the engagement.
Exactly.
I taught the other day on getting value through engagement. And one of the things that I'm going to be doing next on a 1 week challenge is around engagement. Yes. What kind of things can you do to increase engagement in your communities? And a lot of the people that I'm working with actually have their own private Facebook groups, or they're trying to get increased engagement on their Facebook business pages or their Google Plus pages.
Yes.
And to do that, you got to have the conversation.
Yes.
People resonate with people, join people, engage with people who are engaging.
Yes.
And so I love how you brought that piece in about the communities. Now, that's ridiculous. How many communities in Facebook do you belong to?
Yeah, it's over 2,000. And you got hearts from Miss Hawkins. Yes. Awesome. Thank you, Ms. Robin Wiggins.
Thank you.
Bunch of hearts coming up. Beautiful. Yeah. And the reason is when I popped into those communities, certain communities do have really great nuggets. Loving the info, but have a client. Oh, okay. We'll watch the rest in replay. Doodles for now. All right. Thanks, Reese. You all followed that project. She's awesome. People, has an amazing story and testimony. Matter of fact, D-Lynn, I think that you're going to want to interview her. She's
okay.
Amazing. I heard her story yesterday and I was blown away. Okay, that's a side note there. All right, so here it is. that, wait, say that question again.
What's your strategy?
Oh, yeah, the amount of communities. Okay, yeah, the amount of communities. The reason for it is that, when I dive into something, I dive into it. I saturate myself with it because, I figure that, if I'm dealing from a vacuum standpoint, I really don't know what the masses are really actually saying inside of the space. And so my way of really, oh, you too? Yeah. Oh, there you go, Ada. Yeah, my way of getting to know that is to see it from all aspects. Some of them are even groups that, are more spammy in nature, and I rarely ever post to the groups, but I do kind of troll the groups in not the negative way, but I troll it in a way where it's like, okay, I just want to see what people are posting on a regular basis. And then I engage IFTTT with those groups. And that way I can move them out of the groups into a spreadsheet and then do my searches to find out how many people are posting on a given topic. Okay. Certain groups, I have it to where I leverage those posts and then move them to a document. And that way, as I go back through, I can take a nice screenshot and then I may turn that into content later. I may do some commentary on, oh, okay, here's the latest, the latest and greatest on this, that, and the other. And, so it allows me to keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening right now. And then I can report right now if I so choose. Like I could scope about it. Like, oh, I just saw this. The top 10 things, the top 10 posts that came through my feed today are this. And for folks who want to know what my top 10 are, who care enough to say, yeah, I want to know what Jason's top 10 are. And that's going to be based on how much value I offer them for them to realize that I'm not going to waste their time. So it all depends. There's a nuance to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just so, I could go on for days on this subject. I could go on for days with questions about really building the right strategy for using Periscope in business and in life. Yeah. And so I do have one other question. I'm looking at the time. We're going to use this question in order to do our wrap up, Jason. But so like in Google Hangouts, I can bring people in here. I can have that and get kind of engagement conversation right here inside the Hangouts. I can have it on the outside, but I can have it right here on the inside. And I can have a 2-way or 3 or 10-way conversation.
Absolutely.
Talk to me about Periscope. And is this a one-way conversation with the exception of getting the comments back?
Not even. A matter of fact, and it just depends on how you structure it. You could have a multi-conversation. Like, for example, I'm talking to my Periscope folks. You're talking to my Periscope folks. You're talking to your folks, and I'm talking to your folks. And our folks are sharing with their folks. So now that conversation is just spread. And now if they feel that we have the ability to answer their questions or to field whatever comments that they have, now they're joining in. If they get beyond, that nervousness of, oh, I don't want to put something in there that, may, make me look bad or like I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't want to ask that question, whatever it is. Once they get to that comfort level where they realize, hey, you know what, this is a safe space that, we're just in here to learn and explore together and to really, rock this thing out. The shift takes place. So the multi-conversation comes in where you're asking your questions. You're fielding questions to me. I'm fielding questions to you. You've joined in. Also, and here's the part that I'm glad that you're sitting down. You could take your Periscope, right? And just like how I told you about the recipe in IFTTT, we could have the Periscope, spread out to many places at once. The minute that I hit go on my side, it pops over to my Twitter. It triggers a recipe on my IFTTT that then shares it with my Facebook, my G+, my pages, Facebook pages, my communities. I can have it just spread out on my blog, on my website and what have you, right? All of these areas now that have that link with a little bit of the commentary that goes out to folks. I may even have an image that goes out with it and says, hey, join us live now. So now I don't have to sit there and man the whole process of saying, okay, let me now send this thing out and send this thing out and send this thing out. It's already going out the minute that I hit go. All of my followers, I also could have it go out to my RSS feed. So then everybody who's on my list, now they get a thing in their email. Or if I have it connected up to SMS, they get a thing in their SMS. You see, so there's so many ways that you can reach out to your community automatically. I'm about the automation.
Yes, I am as well, and thank you for that. That was good info. Gosh, we may have to do another segment on Periscope after a few of us really get it under our belts, and I want to do something and actually invite people into the Hangout to be live in this conversation on air about Periscope, how they've used it, what kind of advantages they've seen in their use, and what results have they gotten by using it to grow business. Because in this space of the BIZ Info Zone Show, we're really talking to our audience of difference makers, of people who are in the space of social enterprise, doing bigger good in the world, making the world a better place. And to have something like this to be able to work with is really giving us a huge advantage. Now, last question. What's the typical span of time that somebody would have their Periscope stream going? 10 minutes, 20, 30? What are you seeing?
You know what? Here's the beautiful thing about it. It is as individual as the people running the Periscope. I am following quite a few people who do Periscopes that last into the hours. Like, you know, Amanda Oleander, I think I said her name right, but she's an artist. And so she does art, right? And I'm still here. Hey now, she does art. And so you'll see her start with a blank canvas and then put the whole thing together. And all the while she's talking about her life. People are chiming in. People are talking with each other, okay, in the midst of the stream. And then ever so often she'll look back. She'll see something going on. She'll comment on it. She'll take some time to answer some questions and engage. And she's got a following of over 120 some odd thousand people. Wow. And a matter of fact, if you scroll through my list of folks that I'm following, there's quite a few in there, but she is definitely in there. Definitely one that I'm following. Hey, Keep It Local LLC, how you doing? So anyway, so yeah, the way in which you can use it is all dependent upon you. If your stuff is interesting enough that folks want to kind of come in and come out, because see, all the while people are on your scope, they are also being engaged by other scopes. Hey, hello. They're being engaged by other scopes. And so now they make the determination, okay, do I want to, you know, jump off, catch the other scope and then come back, or stay gone, or what? And it all depends on how much of a show that you're putting on. Team Hell Squad in the house. Hey now. So now, you know, as you're doing your thing, the thing I love about Periscope is that you're able to be yourself and also carry that professionalism. Like I don't have to dress in a suit and a tie for me to now spout out what it is that I know, right? I can be comfortable at home, you know, with my kitchen in the backdrop. You know, everybody else knows that's my lab in the backdrop, you know. And as a matter of fact, you know, when we're finished, I'm going to go back into my lab. I have some more things to create, and I may scope it. I don't know. But anyway, so it can be anywhere from a few minutes. You know, some people are more directional. Some marketers are, yeah, some marketers are, I mean, they kind of are like just message specific. They go in, do a quick 90-second, and then they're out. And I say, okay, you can do it that way, you know, and it may work out for you if you already have a name coming in and people are already following you. It's not necessarily, yeah, live cooking show, definitely. It's not necessarily, did one the other day. It's not necessarily the way that you want to build your community for them to now share your stuff, unless it's just a business community coming in, then you're perfect in that. They don't have the time to sit there and listen to a whole bunch of stuff. But I also say that in those cases, you know, you look at, yeah, I hate infomercials here. In those cases, you also have to look at, well, if you don't have time to engage, why are you on Periscope? You see, Periscope is about the engagement. It's about the community. It's about creating those relationships and learning things about your community that you wouldn't necessarily get on Facebook, because it is a dynamic conversation. It's in the moment. And it's so in the moment that right now, unless they change this, and I hope that they do, that your scope only lasts for 24 hours. So then, yeah, so then you want to effect certain things I use the tool Reflector. Okay, and Reflector, I take that, you can go to airsquirrels.com / I think Reflector. No, anyway, if you go to airsquirrels.com, it'll show you where you can click on the thing for Reflector. And what that does is that allows you to take your stuff from your phone and play it back on your computer in Reflector and record it. So you save the conversation. Now, you can do this by just saving it straight to your phone after your scope is done, but you don't see the hearts, you don't see the comments, you don't see all the other stuff that makes it even that much more valuable. So when you do it through Reflector or one of those apps that allows you to record your screen onto your computer as a file, what ends up happening is that now you have something for the archives, and you also have relevant conversations, things that people are saying, what is it that they're asking, so you get a better idea of what your real market is about. Yeah. So you dive into that, push that thing forward, and then, so you're good to go there. I think that they are going to, and I hope that they are going to expand that 24-hour model. We'll see.
24 hours.
24
okay.
hours. And that kind of puts fire under the, seats of folks who are saying, hey, I'll catch the replay. It's like, well, you got 24 hours.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah.
It's typically gone by the time my 24 hours rolls around.
Exactly.
So thank you for that piece of info about how to capture it, because it's something that you can do in that, short period of time. Exactly. So I want to make sure that I get that again. I'm going to post that in the Hangouts group. Okay. It's airsquirrels.com, right?
Yes, airsquirrels.com. Right. And a matter of fact, Lynn, when you're really smart about it, you will start the Reflector act. Like, okay, for example, because I ran into my laptop glitch, I didn't have a chance to put the Reflector app on to start recording as I'm recording. You see, that would be the perfect scenario, because it'll record in real time. Now, by the time I finish my scope, I'm hitting stop on the Reflector app. I don't have to take more time now in real time to re-record this thing. See? Okay. Hey, Pat, how you doing? Airsquirrels.com. Well, yeah, airsquirrels.com. You put the .com in there. Skinny wraps. Yeah, thank you, Pat, for inviting followers. And you guys are gonna, if you stick around, you're gonna see us in the green room afterwards, where some more little tidbits and nuggets get talked about.
And with that said, I'm going to post the link in the Hangout. And if you're on G+, come join us there. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the, what else? Me on G+. And find the BIZ Info Zone Show. When you find the BIZ Info Zone Show, you have the ability to join us right here inside the Hangout. We'll be here for about 15 minutes or so, maybe longer. When Jason and I get together like this, there's no telling. But we call it the after show. You can join us in the green room and actually talk to us live. And we're going to capture it in the, what happened to me here now? We're going to capture it in the Periscope.
Absolutely.
But come on in, join us.
Yeah, come on in. And if you have questions, please bring them. You know how we say, bring it, bring it. Bring it.
All right, now I got to get back to my events page. I don't know where it went.
Okay, and so meanwhile, while you're doing that, I'm going to talk to my Periscope peeps real quick.
All right.
Okay, y'all. So yeah, if you want to hang around afterwards, we're going to go into the green room. And I'll tell you one thing. I happened to be on one of Lynn's broadcasts last week, and she had, I wasn't on as a guest. I was actually an audience member, and she had, that was the one where Rick was on, Lynn.
Rick Justice.
Yeah, Rick Justice. Thank you, Ida. Yeah, Rick Justice was on, and I'm telling you, the content was amazing from the show itself. The green room was, the after show, that blew my mind. And you got to do a lot to blow my mind. I've been around for a while and seen a lot of things. That blew my mind. The clarity, how the concision of this guest that she had on there, just dealing with sales and and positioning and strategy. I mean, this guy has driven, what was it, like $4.6 billion in sales?
$4.6 billion.
Billion in sales. And his organization has driven over 200 billion, something like that.
260 billion.
$260 billion. So we got a university level engagement with him after the show, where we were able to ask him a bunch of questions and engage in a way that you just can't do. Like, you cannot just access this guy. So to be able to have a person of his stature and his experience and to engage at that level, it was just phenomenal. So just to give you a heads up that if you're not following B. Lynn, you absolutely need to be following B. Lynn, because just following her is going to help you grow your business, and it's going to help you grow your life in ways that you would not imagine. Okay, so just want to give a plug on that.
Appreciate that, brother. All right, the link is up in the BIZ Info Zone Show event page. And again, if you want to find us, go to Google Plus and search for BIZ Info Zone Show. And you'll see it right there. It's an event, and you can come in on the event page. The link is right there. Join us, because we're going to close out today's show. We generally go an hour, more or less, unless Jason's my guest.
Right,
and then
right.
we just hang out with each other.
Yes.
And one of the things that I like for everyone to know who's watching this show is that it is all about bringing you into the space where you learn how to more explicitly express your purpose, plan your next moves, take that action and implement the things that you're learning so that you can take your business and your life into what I call the realm of prosperity, because we live in a world that is abundant. We live in a world of infinite possibilities and infinite potential. And you learn from these masters how to elevate yourself and escalate your business. And I call that business acceleration, in order to really bring that to you. The law of reciprocation is in work on a constant basis. And, I often talk about the law of attraction. A lot of people think the law of attraction is a foundational universal law. It's actually not a secondary law, but a tertiary law. We are actually focusing on the foundational laws of the universe that allow you to grow your business exponentially while making a difference in the world. So join us. I'd love to have you. And if you want to be a guest on the show, on that event page, you can find that information as well. So we're going to close things up for today. Join us in the green room. We'd love to see you there. My name is V. Lynn Hawkins. I want to say a shout out and a big, huge thank you to my guest, Jason Hodge. Thanks for being here today. And we'll see you next week. Our show airs every Thursday, 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern time. And just hang out with us and get this information that's going to help you to do bigger business and do more good in the world. Thanks again. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you, Lynn.